The task I had undertaken was as difficult as I had suspected. Oh, we started out on an exciting note. We flushed the redcoats from Boston, but then followed the loss of New York City, and all parties knew that it would be a long war, a war in which I could only claim a few pure victories. But I survived defeat after defeat by quick and intelligent retreats. My army was made up of Continental soldiers who signed up for bonuses and who were eager to leave when their time was served, complemented by militiamen who were simply farmers and shopkeepers, many who ran almost the moment that they saw the British. There were deserters, which I dealt with severely, and a tremendous lack of supplies and ammunition. I constantly tried to instill in my men the importance of their duty. In my general orders dated July the 2nd, 1776, I wrote, "The fate of unborn millions will now depend under God on the courage and the conduct of this army. We have therefore to resolve to conquer or die. Let us therefore rely upon the goodness of the cause and the aid of the Supreme Being in whose hands victory is, to encourage us to great and noble actions." Congress approved a chaplain for each regiment, and I encouraged the men to attend their services. To add to my worries, early on rumors began reaching me that Lord Dunmore was urging the British fleet to sail up the Potomac, burn Mount Vernon, and take Martha as prisoner. I couldn't believe that he would do such a thing. But to be safe, I sent Patsy a letter.
It was a letter for which I had been hoping. The General wanted me to join him at winter quarters in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Well, the trip to join my husband shocked me. For although I had done nothing to deserve it, all along the way I was treated with a great pomp, as if I were a great somebody, with crowds shouting out, "Lady Washington." During the 7 years of war, I joined the General every winter and participated as best we women could. I nursed the wounded, cared for the sick, and spent many hours knitting and sewing. As I wrote a friend, whilst our husbands and brothers are examples of patriotism, we the women must be patterns of industry. But at times I was also entrusted with military secrets, as I made copies of the General's correspondence.
And Martha even joined me for that horrible winter at Valley Forge. A winter that saw several thousand of the 12,000 troops camped there die. Our men were without clothes to cover their nakedness, without blankets, without shoes, while the British Army occupied Philadelphia and lived in luxury. It was during the war that Lady Washington earned the love and the respect of the nation. A young lady at Valley Forge wrote in remembrance, "I never in my life knew a woman so busy from early morn until late at night as Lady Washington, providing comforts for the sick soldiers. On one occasion she went to the hut of a dying soldier, whose young wife was with him. After she had given him some wholesome food, which she had prepared, she knelt down by his straw pallet and prayed earnestly for him and his wife with her sweet, solemn voice. I shall never forget the scene." In 1778, the British evacuated Philadelphia, were driven out of New Jersey, and France joined the conflict on our side. But money was scarce. Not only couldn't we pay our troops, but by August of 1780, we could no longer buy supplies from our own countrymen and assume the odious character of plunderers instead of protectors of the people. And the apex of our troubles occurred in early January of 1781, when part of the Pennsylvania troops mutinied. Later that month, New Jersey troops did likewise. Now, throughout the war, I did not neglect Mount Vernon, constantly writing to my cousin, Lund Washington, who was overseeing my farms, advising him in great detail about my crops and the overall running of my home, including a direct stipulation that the hospitality of the house with respect to the poor should be kept up, that no one should go away hungry. But on one occasion I severely chastised him for offering the British provisions to prevent them from burning Mount Vernon, the latter would have been less painful to me.